Hello, my name is Susan Hirata. Welcome to the 17th Annual DisOrient Asian American Film Festival. I want to take a moment and tell you a little bit about how we choose our films. We are looking for films by, for, and or about Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders, either in front of or behind the camera. Every submission is screened by at least 3 screeners. All of the films in our program have been viewed multiple times as we decide which films we will include. And this is the agonizing part because we have way more good films than we can take, and we have to make really hard choices. And finally, all the films need to fit into a well-rounded program covering a variety of themes. So I hope you are enjoying our carefully curated program as much as we've enjoyed the films. Today, it's my pleasure to have a film conversation with the filmmakers of the Filipinx Shorts program, a program which highlights the Filipinx community, their stories and their work, both in front of and behind the camera. With us today, from Love and Corona, we have director, writer, and producer Nicole Maxali, executive producer Anthony Mack, and lead actor Kristiana Torregosa. From Kalinga, we have Kent Donguines. From Gabby Antonio Smashes the Imperialist, White Supremacist, Capitalist Patriarchy, we have Luann Algoso. From Sinagang, we have director, writer Derek Aiello, and producer we don't have Justin, I think, sorry. And from Day and Night, we have director, writer, producer, animator, and composer Jewel Racasa. And from Reverse, we have director, writer Josh Aries, and writer and lead actor Curtis Lum. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to be here today. So I'm going to have you all say your names again and tell us just a little bit about your film so everybody knows what film you all belong to. Why don't we start with Jewel?
Hello, my name is Jewel Racasa. I worked on Gabby with the English title Day and Night, which is a animated short film about 2 godlike siblings fighting over the ownership of the earth.
Next. Kristiana.
Hi everyone, my name is Kristiana Torregosa. I am from Love and Corona, and the film is about women empowerment and definitely finding ourselves through the pandemic. So it was a great experience.
Nicole.
Hi, I'm Nicole Maxali. I am the director and writer creator of Love and Corona. And just like Kristiana said, it's about a woman's journey finding herself and finding her power through the COVID pandemic.
Hi everyone, I'm Kent Donguines and here's my face. And I'm the director of Kalinga Care. Kalinga is a Filipino word that means care, and it's a short documentary about the Filipino caregivers and nannies in Vancouver and how their stories have helped me heal my personal experience.
I guess I'll go next. Hello, my name is Josh Aries. I'm the writer and director of Reverse, which is about it's an action comedy about a hardened time-traveling hitman who chooses between eliminating his high-profile target or stopping the painful heartbreak of his ex-girlfriend across the room. I don't know explain it very well. It's been a while, but yeah, that's me.
I'm Curtis Lum. I am the producer and the lead actor of Reverse, and I'm here championing my boy Josh Aries. Yeah, to piggyback off what he said, it's all one big metaphor for about this time traveling hitman that gets sent back in time to take care of a very high profile target. And it just so happens that he gets sent back to the exact time and place that he gets his heart broken by his first love. And so he needs to choose between fixing his past or securing a better future. And ultimately it's about finding self-love and accepting our past. It's a beautiful film, and we're excited to be here and part of this, so thank you.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Anthony Mack, and I'm the executive producer for Love and Corona. And not that they need me to support them, but I'm here to support the, awesome females that love in Corona, which is not just an empowerment story, but it's really, the female fantasy turned reality of a woman, understanding how to take back her power, set her boundaries. And it's a story that doesn't have to end in, trauma or negativity. So thank you all for having us.
Hi, my name is Derek Aiello. I'm the writer-director of the film Synagogue. It's a story about a young man that receives an unexpected package that prompts a journey of reconnection with his mother through food. Yeah.
Hey everyone, my name is Luann Algoso, and I'm the creator of the web series Gabby Antonio Smashes the Imperialist, White Supremacist, Capitalist Patriarchy. It's a long name. We go by Gabby Smashes for short. And it's a comedy web series about doing good in the whitest city in America, which is Portland, Oregon. And it derives from my experiences of working in nonprofits in the city of Portland, Oregon, and all the trials and tribulations that came with living there.
Great, thank you all. So I'm going to start right in with some questions for each of you. I'm going to start with Derek. Derek, I love Synagogue. I love that it's so simple and soul nourishing. Tell us about what inspired you to make this film.
Yeah, so I wrote this film right out of college, right around the time I moved out of my parents' house. I was in a place where I was talking to my mom a lot, or trying to, but constantly missing her on the phone. We would leave each other voicemails. And about a year prior, I had an experience where I was really far from home and I was really missing just home cooking. And so I drove around like northern Massachusetts for 4 hours, collecting all the ingredients I needed to make synagogue. I had to actually boil tamarind fruit for like 8 hours to make the broth because no place sold the mix packet. And I was like, oh, this would have been so easier. Like if I just had if I just had a mix packet. And that's where the whole idea of getting mailed one of those mix packets and then making the dish out of things you just have around you came from. So yeah, that's like the long 6-year story of how it kind of came together. It was sort of a really long process, an idea I'd been sitting on for a while.
Wow, that's so so it was kind of like your wish of how it was when you instead of having to, yeah. Well, good for you for knowing how to do that without the little recipe and the packet that we show in the film. You write that we all have a dish that brings us back to earth, back to comfort and closer together. So is synagogue that dish for you?
Yeah, it's my favorite food. It's a great, I've showed it to a lot of my friends. And it's a really because when you make it for 10 people. So it's a really easy dish to share with lots of people.
Yeah.
And it's sweet, it's sour, it's got it's savory, it's got all the flavors. So yeah.
I wanted to ask everybody, so all of you, what is your food that brings you back home, back down to home? Just curious.
Chicken adobo.
Uh-huh.
and my husband's chicken adobo.
Palabo.
Sisig gives me heart disease. So
Synagogue. I would say synagogue too.
How about you, Ken?
Mine's really not available here in Canada. It's a Visayan delicacy in the Philippines called the Inubarang Manok. It's made of coconut milk, banana husk, and native chicken. But if I have to choose, it would be like that's available here in Vancouver. It's called the red.
Anyone else? Did Anthony say anything?
Tocino and some garlic fried rice.
Fried rice is good. Yeah. So the other thing, Derek, I really love about your film is that I'm the lowest tech person ever. And I really love that the character does not pay attention to his phone. Like he's totally engrossed in making this food. And I don't know if that's what you intended, but that's how I took it. It was really kind of nice to see somebody so engrossed in making food and maybe thinking about his mom and forgetting about the technology.
Yeah, no, that was definitely intentional. I think like the backstory of the main character is that he's like a chef at a restaurant that he's not exactly passionate about. And so any opportunity to make something that he like really loves, he just kind of closes out the world a little bit. So that was definitely intentional. And I'm glad that the shot of the phone while he's like going and like grabbing all the pots and pans, that's one of my favorite shots in the whole film.
Yeah.
I was like, we almost didn't get. So I was really glad that we got it.
Yeah, well, I totally loved it and I totally appreciated that. So yeah, thanks for that.
Thank you.
Okay, so Kent, I'm going to move on to your film. Thank you for Kalinga. It's such an insightful and poignant film. And as a mother, I applaud you for taking on this topic that's so personal for you. It took a lot of courage and compassion to bring forth this story. So tell us about your decision to make this film.
Yeah, I guess when the opportunity came to me to pitch a project for Story Hive here in Vancouver, I really wanted to tell something that I already know. As a filmmaker, I started my career as a producer, so I had that director worry and also really clinged on my experience as a journalist. And when that opportunity came, I guess I committed to the fact that I wanted to say, I wanted to tell something that involves Filipino caregivers and nannies. Originally, I thought it was just gonna be for myself, because at the age of 25, I still had a lot of questions as to why my mom left me at an early age. And during the process of filmmaking, I realized that it's way more than my own personal growth and questions. That's why the whole film changed, because I wanted to allow Filipino caregivers and nannies to actually just talk about their stories. Because one of the things that I really hated when I used to live in Joyce Collingwood, which is the Filipino-Canadian neighborhood here in Vancouver, is that when I talk to my fellow Filipinos, and then they would ask what I do, and then I would say that I'm a filmmaker, they just assume that I'm either a caregiver or a nurse. And at the same time too, there's this certain, what they call this, there's this certain pity that comes with it. A lot of our fellow Filipinos see it as a very degrading, low job. But I don't think so. I think it's a job, whether you're a caregiver or a nanny, that is just as admirable and as professional as becoming a doctor, nurse, or a lawyer. So it's really that, and being able to pursue an impact campaign after making the film and shedding some light in this really important story. It was just a cherry on top for me to put myself in there as well, because I really wanted to show that sometimes this brewing of hatred towards our parents who has taken that route can damage your existing relationship with your family, but at the same time, as time passes, yeah, you'll be able to recollect and just accept and, you know, respect the people who have worked hard for you.
Mhm. So it sounds like there was a lot of healing in the process of just deciding to make the film, let alone actually making the film.
Yeah, yeah. If I wanted to make it as a feature, a documentary, I would have been able to. I
Yeah.
had 6 hours of footage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Condensed to 29 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, but you're right, Susan. It was a healing process, not just for me, but also for the caregivers and nannies who were involved in the documentary, because the best part, the best thing or the best part that I've heard from them after watching the film and Doxa when it had its world premiere was they felt that there's this certain weight that was lifted off their shoulders because they were able to
Absolutely.
talk about it.
Absolutely. Good for you.
Yeah.
I also love you weave through the film the scene where you're all gathering and sharing food. And,
Yeah.
we were just talking about food as being the cultural connector, and there you have it. And it brings this community together. I'm
Mhm.
wondering if that was like just on the set of the film or something, or is that your Filipino community there? And do you gather like
That
that
was
regularly?
actually I wouldn't necessarily say it was a set. It was hosted by Pato Filipino. It's one of the restaurants here in Vancouver. And basically we took that opportunity to just bring everyone together and talk about important things, you know. Like you said, like food really connects to Filipino community. So people just showed up when they found out that there was going to be a brutal fight. But being able to do that and still talk about the things we've tackled in the film, it felt really, really special.
Yeah, even that was so poignant and so sincere with everybody. And then at the end, I think that's you and your mother. So like there's a photo of you. Is
Mhm.
that you and your mother? So
Yeah.
has your mother seen the film?
She has. When, you know, like when people ask me if there's anything that I could change in the documentary, I always say I wish I had my mom in it, but she never wanted to be in there. Because for her, you know, like she doesn't want to re-traumatize herself anymore. And I fully respect that. And you know, with her blessing, of course, I was able to talk about my perspective on that experience.
Yeah, she must be so proud of you. And also, I'm sure it was healing for her too, to have you make the film. So yeah, congratulations on that.
Thank you so
I was
much.
also wondering if you had any takeaways or, you know, like towards policy. I mean, because you're talking about Filipino caregivers, but it's kind of caregiving in general in our society in Canada and US is a huge topic that
Yes.
we don't really do very well yet. So yeah, do
Working
you
on
have
it.
any?
We're working on it.
Nice.
We're currently working with Story Money Impact, who's helping us use the documentary as a tool to hopefully connect more to the community and start conversations to, you know, reform existing policies. In Canada alone, the caregiver program has changed so many times in different administrations, but it's always not in favor of caregivers and nannies.
Yeah.
And you know, that's why we've spent about 4 to 6 months already doing our impact campaign. So the film has been traveling and into different screenings hosted by different community leaders from the Filipino Canadian community. And yeah, and being able to just connect with, you know, people who are in the forefront fighting for the rights of Filipino caregivers and nannies. They're really definitely helping and doing something to hopefully improve the existing policies that we have.
Wow, beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, Jewel, let's talk about your film, your animated film, Day and Night. I would love for you to give us a little more background on this Filipino myth that you so charmingly animated, and why did you choose this myth?
Okay, so for context for Gabby, mythology in the Philippines, a lot of it covers the stories of the creation of the world. And so Mayari and Apalaki are the respective gods of day and night, so the moon and the sun, with Mayari being the moon goddess and Apalaki being the sun god. They are the children of Bathala, who is the creator of all things, so he's the one who created the earth. In the original story, Bathala was passing away, so he wanted to, because he loved his children so much, he wanted to pass it on to his children. But Apalaki, being very selfish and very aggressive, he wanted to take over the earth for himself and run it. While Mayari, who is the more obedient, more caring daughter, she wanted to share, but because they had such strong mindsets, it led to a battle. And in the original story, Apalaki actually hits her with a club in the eye. Obviously, my film is more children-friendly cartoon style because that is what I like to do. He hits with a star instead because they're in space. But because her for more context, the light that we see on Earth actually comes from the eyes of the gods, which is why at night there's not as much light because Mayari loses her eye due to that battle. And that is how the creation of the day and night cycle became, because they decided to take turns, in the end, take turns overlooking this Earth. When it came to like my decision to make this film, this is actually my first film I ever made. It was my junior film for my animation degree here at the UH Manoa. We had to decide what film we wanted to do. We had to present 2 films, and I had to choose between my 2 stories, which was Ara Gabby and Jezebel and the Capre. Both of my films are very folklore based, but I was so passionate about Mayari's character because I'm a middle child. I relate to the sibling kind of rivalry, and I thought it would just translate so well into this children's style cartoon, which is a big inspiration of mine. And I started learning about this folklore from an artist who was doing a clothing line collab with this company called Abacada Company. And I saw they had this whole clothing line of Mayari and Apalaki, and I looked into it and I was like, I love this story. I love Mayari. And I was like, I relate to the character, and I was so passionate about it because in this film, it was only going to be me working on everything. Well, except for the music, my composer did the music, but I did everything else. But I wanted to do something I was so passionate about that I wouldn't be tired of it after 6 months of straight animating. So that's kind of how I came to that decision on making this film.
That's really cool. And so do you have plans for making more mythology films, animated films, like more in this series perhaps?
Not exactly mythology. So what I've decided to do with my films, as I go through my animation degree, getting my animation degree, these films are more an exploration as me as a Filipino American trying to understand my own understanding of Filipino, what it means to be Filipino, because I was born and raised here in Hawaii, and I wasn't overcrowded with like Filipino culture too much because Hawaii is so diverse. I'm getting hit left and right with like Japanese culture, Chinese culture, Hawaiian culture, all kinds of culture all around the world, that I'm not extremely exposed to this everything that people see as Filipino, because my parents raised me more on this American mindset. I didn't know the language. I didn't know a lot of the culture. I knew the food and everything. So I actually took a Filipino folklore class and a lot of Filipino classes here at my university to learn. And when I took the folklore class, I was like, this is what I want my first film to be. I want to focus on stories that other people don't know about, because Filipino mythology is something, especially the more younger generation, they don't know anything about it. Everyone just has this mindset like, oh, Filipino mythology and folklore is so scary because they think about the aswang, and it's more to that. I wanted to focus on stories that were fun and like get people excited to learn into things without being too scared. And this exploration of culture in a way that's fun is what inspires a lot of my films. Like my film right now is about Filipino food as characters and exploring Filipino culture just like in a fun animated way, and that's easy for introduction for non-Filipinos and for younger demographics that don't have a full grasp of what culture means.
Cool. Well, thank you for that. Thanks for putting those stories to animation. Luann, you are the writer and key cast member of Gabby Antonio Smashes. And we're totally cheering Gabby on as we're watching this series. Tell us more. What was the inspiration for making this series?
Well, when I was living back in Portland, Oregon, my very first job was working at a nonprofit. And I was definitely one of those people that was very gung-ho and passionate and maybe a little naive also about how to do good, like how to make a change in your community. And so a lot of the story of Gabby Smashes is about my experiences of like trying to make an impact in the community that I was a transplant in, because I'm not originally from Portland. And so a lot of the inspiration of Gabby Smashes is from my experiences like interacting with like the immigrant communities in Portland, Black communities, and Indigenous communities that reside in the city, and how gentrification and displacement is a real issue. And so I guess, yeah, Gabby Smashes is a comedy web series. And I try to make, not make light of it, but to be able to find translation and humor through storytelling.
Yeah, it's great. It's really funny, actually. And I'm wondering, I mean, it probably wasn't that funny, you know, like, so
it was a healing, you know, like,
yeah.
I the experiences were not funny at the time, but
yeah.
I think, you know, a lot of why I wrote it, because I'm not like, I wasn't a filmmaker before it. Like I have a background in performance, but I didn't know how to make web series or films and whatnot. But because of my experiences, I really wanted to express, you know, and heal from those experiences. And so creating a web series was my way to heal from all of that.
Awesome. So we are only showing, I think, 2 episodes of maybe 4 episodes. Is that right? Yeah. So where can people see the other episodes, or is that going to be?
Yeah, GabbySmashes.com is where the rest of the episodes will be.
Okay, cool. And is it going to be end at 4, or is it an ongoing thing?
It's ending at 4 right now. But the hope is to create more episodes in the future.
Wow, cool. Thanks. Well, thanks for that. It's very, it's fun. It's always fun when we can have humor in our program, because often a lot of things are not so, are a lot heavier, actually. Yeah, so it's very nice, and to turn not so funny things into funny is good for you. Yeah. Okay, so Nicole, Anthony, and Kristiana, congratulations to the team. Good work on this film. I love it. I just watched it again yesterday preparing for this Q&A, and it's like a time capsule of COVID. I don't know if you've watched it lately, but we're kind of not in that same place anymore, which is nice, but really fun to see kind of where we've been. Tell us about the film, and is this based on real life experiences?
So it is based on, I would say a lot of it is inspired on real life experiences, you know, with lockdown and quarantine, and a lot of people that I know, including myself, losing our jobs in 2020 due to the pandemic. It was inspired by that and sort of like this survival instinct of what do we do now? Since a lot of places are closed down, and this was sort of the time when unemployment was sort of like on pause. It's really difficult to get an unemployment. So it was inspired by that, but also this need to connect, even though we were all, supposed to be quarantining, especially New York and the West Coast, and we couldn't see our family, we couldn't see our friends or loved ones. And for the single people, we couldn't date, right? So how do you connect during a pandemic? And so I really wanted to show the way connection through self and through, community can grow and evolve with the use of technology, and how we can evolve ourselves and find self-empowerment, especially as a woman of color through this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Kristiana, I just want to comment that actually, very unlike your character, you're like a bodybuilder, right? Like that is so awesome. Tell us about that.
Thank you, Susan. I am a bodybuilder. So it was especially on our first shoot, like just like the storyline of everything. It's being a bodybuilder is great. I love the sport. I love being able to really appreciate each phase of the sport, whether it's building or getting into prep and preparing for your next competition. And it really does, it gives me, it really taught me a lot of discipline and being able to push past my own limitations, because growing up in a Filipino household, I was introduced to a way of a healthy living, which at a young age, which was really great for me, but also there was some habits that I learned that I had to unlearn. So definitely going into bodybuilding, I was able to shape my own way and my own journey towards fitness and self-love as well. So it's great. I love it.
Wow. Yeah, and so also, like I said before, I'm like really low tech and I'm not on social media. So tell me, like, is that how it was like on social media, or is like people are like making a lot of money with these? Yeah.
So the other inspiration of this story was the explosion of OnlyFans and the sex workers that were making a ton of money on platforms like OnlyFans. And that was sort of the inspiration for Kristiana's character and how she was going to sort of cocoon out of her caterpillar stage into her beautiful butterfly stage, but on her terms.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think what we often see in male fantasy movies about sex workers or just women in general on a platform like that is very much like trauma and negativity happening to the woman and her being a victim and powerless. And what I wanted to do is sort of switch, that and make her super powerful and really honing in on her boundaries and saying what she's willing to do and not to do, and make money, right? Like, let's be real. The pandemic, we're all in this survival mode, but when you can flourish and thrive and do what you love, then it's just a beautiful thing. And I think that goes along with the evolution of her character too.
Yeah, very cool. And Anthony, what was your role as a producer in uplifting these women and the story?
Well, first off, Susan, I think you actually hit it on the head. This is literally a time capsule of like the last 2 years.
It's almost painful to watch a little bit. Like it takes you back to that time. You feel a little claustrophobic, a little,
That was kind of the goal at the start. It was really about turning real world tragedy, anxiety, and uncertainty. Like Nicole was saying, she came to me with this idea a while back and we were just kind of going back and forth. But my role in this was just really allowing them to have the I guess in this respect the finances to put this idea on paper. Shout out to Kristiana. This was actually one of her first roles. She just started acting last October, and she did amazing. But I think Nicole, who came from a comedy background, put this thing and really turned lemons into lemonade. And we had such a fantastic cast and crew. Shannon Skiles came on almost for Kristiana's role, but we figured things out. And Joyelle Johnson, who is making some way out there, just really took the bones that Nicole kind of put together on paper and really made it come to life, and just add a lot of that comedy that we kind of needed, in such a dark time.
Yeah.
So I think everybody can really just kind of attach themselves to some part of this character or these characters in this whole thing. I mean, and myself included, just feeling like, you don't measure up to the traditional sense of how we were raised. And, if you're not a doctor, nurse, caregiver, accountant, in those specific things as an Asian American growing up here, and finding our way out here. And so my job was really just to help facilitate all this and get what's from paper into the real life. So.
Awesome. Well, congratulations again to the team. Good work. Okay, Josh and Curtis, we get to you. So Curtis, I just wanted to start off by saying that if DisOrient had a festival award for most badass character, I think Onyx would win.
Oh man, I'll take that.
So yeah, what was it like creating and playing this character?
This was a first on many levels for myself, and also
Really?
a dream come true. I've wanted to kind of explore the world of action for a while now, and I've dabbled in it throughout my career. I've been blessed to have been able to do a bunch of my own stunts and stuff like that, on different shows and stuff like that. But to actually be in an action heavy film and to lead that was something that I've always wanted to do. And that's actually how Josh and I had linked up. I was a big fan of his work. He did an incredible film called Mr. James is Dead. And everyone's been talking about him in our city. And so I shot my shot and I reached out to him, and it just so happened that he was coming off of a job, and we just wanted to meet. And this story came from a place of actually both of us actually recognizing something in each other, where we had both really gone on our own journeys in terms of finding ourselves and finding self-love and finding self-confidence and being okay with our past in order to move forward. And I was like, okay, well, why don't we just start there? Let's do a film about that and throw a shit ton of action in it, and let's represent Asians without necessarily needing to shoehorn like an Asian specific storyline. We've both done that before. I've had the privilege of having two of our films play at the DisOrient, both with Asian themes, and so this one we wanted to represent another way by doing a film that you would typically see white leads play, but with Asian faces and really put on for our people that way. And Josh, I just knew from the get-go was the right man for it, and thankfully he led us to such a fun and incredible place, and he directed it and he edited the film. So I mean, I can't wait for everyone to see it. It's truly, I think it encapsulates our experience, which was just fun and action packed, and a lot of love put into that project. So yeah,
I wanted to ask you both about that, the writing of it, because I know you both are writers on it. So did you just like bounce your ideas back and forth with each other, and you had like a main theme or something, and you just threw in ideas in the pot? How'd that go, Josh?
Yeah, definitely. We all came from very, like Curtis said it very well, we all came from places where we we're exploring our past. And one of my mentors, Phil Planta, who's also a very talented Filipino filmmaker here, he said to write from the lava. And to write from the lava means to write from a place of hurt, a place where it really is just very difficult to just talk about, right? So we all became, myself, Curtis, and Paulo Valdez, who's also the other writer here. We all became very vulnerable and became, talk about what hurt us and what about our past and everything. And it just felt very well with a time travel film about an action, about a hitman who goes back in time to stop a heartbreak. That's some more layers. You got to see the movie to know. But yeah, just with that theme of the past and seeing what would we want to change the past, and just building up of that, and then just exploring each other's ideas and being vulnerable. It was just a beautiful experience overall.
Yeah, I have to say we were very lucky with the third writer, the main writer, Paulo. He's such an asset to have when it comes to writing, because he has like this encyclopedic, is that a word? Let's just all pretend that's a word. Everyone just nod. He has this crazy just backlog of films and TV shows. He's seen everything, and so he was the perfect guy to bounce this off of, where we wanted to tell a familiar story but give it a new twist. And so he's the kind of guy where he's like, okay, well, easy, like we'll take a bit of this, but we've never seen this, and then we'll do it like this, and then so the three of us were kind of just throwing some things back and forth. But we just quickly for context, we did this film for a competition out here in Vancouver called the Mighty Asian Movie Marathon, where you get a week to essentially write, shoot, and edit the film. And so Paulo, wrote the main outline of this film in essentially a night, and which is a crazy feat. But again, it's a testament to like the chemistry that we all had. We all came together very quickly as a family, and we had 3 days to shoot a very ambitious story and script. And we all just really gelled. So it was really nice.
Well, I love the look of the film, the coloring of this film, all of that, and the action scene. So Josh, you came with experience doing action. Is that, because clearly that is so well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then,
I look up, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. No.
Oh, I'm just looking up to the greats here, like John Wick and The Raid, and The Raid's like an Indonesian film, which is super sick. You guys should check it out. And yeah, that's it. So sorry, Susan. You can
very cool. And I'm wondering, so are there going to be sequels? Like this looks like it looks like it could, or right?
That's a little hush hush. We're gonna have to talk about this. Vaccine,
Okay, cool. Well, it has been so wonderful talking to you all. I'm wondering if we can go around, if anyone wants to let us know what you're doing, what's your next thing, what are you working on right now, really quick? Can we hear about that? Just jump in. I don't want to have to call on you. Just jump in.
Yeah, for sure. I guess since I'm still here for now.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm actually part of a directing duo called Daniel and Josh. We directed an action film called Mr. James is Dead a while ago, and it's been making a bunch of waves around here. And also
Nice.
we're kind of and another cool venture is that we're kind of blowing up on TikTok right now. We make finger fight videos. It's a pretty fun time, I'm pretty sure you want to see it around. But yeah, search us up, Daniel and Josh on TikTok. I can't believe I'm plugging my TikTok right now.
Nice.
But other than that, that's also a platform for the feature films I want to develop in the future with, the Vancouver community all together. So yeah, that's for myself.
I guess since I'm on here, I'll take it next. I wanted to, now that I'm back in Vancouver, I really want to continue building off of where we left off and uplifting our community and collaborating with the incredible talent that we have here in the city. I just started on a new Netflix series, which will maybe we'll see by the end of this year. I'm not too sure, but that'll keep me busy for the next couple months, which I'm very, very excited about.
Is the name a secret, or is it a secret?
What is it, April 1st right now? Yeah.
No, it's not. Oh yeah, it's April.
Susan. It's called The Night Agent. It's like it's a political thriller on Netflix. And yeah, I again, many firsts for me on this show, so I'm very excited about that. And yeah, we'll see what this city has in store. Everyone seems to be bustling with something. Everyone's on this trajectory right now.
Awesome.
In the city. So yeah,
Awesome.
thank you.
I guess I can go next.
Yeah.
So I wrote my first feature through the Sundance collab, and I got pretty far with their filmmakers directing program. Didn't go far enough to the final round, but I'm now working on the second draft, which is about my uncle Pat Salver and his activism during the ethnic studies strikes at San Francisco State University in 1968 and the formation of the very first ethnic studies program in America. So I'm working on that film, and I think it's an important story to be told, not just for Filipino Americans, but Asian Americans and all Americans, because Asian American history is American
Right.
history, and we all get to like embrace that and celebrate it. And then the second huge project is I'm in my third trimester,
Oh my
and this
God.
baby is coming. So I'm making a human.
Awesome. That'll be your best project.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I guess I'll follow Nicole. That's what amazing news. I am actually starting my bodybuilding prep in the next 16 weeks up until my first show of this season. But with that, I do have my series on my YouTube channel, which I follow along that journey. But what I really wanted to do was not just be so focused on my road to nationals. I really wanted to encompass it and make it more of an I am series. And over the past 2 years, and why I resonated so much with the character that Nicole gave me the opportunity to play as Corinne and Rachel, was definitely my self reconnecting journey. And I really fell in love with those two words, I am. And I really feel like it encompasses our past, present, and future. And I really want to use my platform to use it for empowering others, especially Asian Americans, because I learned so much about myself and my culture in these past 2 years and this experience through this project, but also encouraging, connecting one another at an I am level and through vulnerability and love. So I'm really excited to kick that off, and I think that's going to be my next.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that. Who else?
I'll go. So we have the last 2 episodes of the first season of Gabby Smashes that we're working on right now, and we'll be completing very, very soon, and we'll be up at the time that it premieres at the DisOrient Festival. So that's pretty much what I'm working on right now.
Thanks. And we are so thrilled to have Portland representation in our festival. We ought to, being in Oregon. So thank you for that.
And for myself, I'm currently finishing a short film that Josh edited called Paco. We're taking it to the circuit. It's about a Filipino immigrant who creates this facade of success in Vancouver and how that facade breaks when his family asks for a huge favor. I'm in active development, hoping to take my first feature as a producer by fall this year, with a trilingual comedy, a road trip movie called Cross Country Baby, about an overly determined, hell-bent gay couple who revs up their fagmobile to find the perfect surrogate for their baby. And through that journey, their parental potentials get tested. So character-wise, this is going to be a fiasco between the Filipino-Canadian and French-Canadian community. So there's English, French, and Tagalog in there. And yeah, and also on the road for my first feature documentary.
Oh my
I'm
God.
doing Treasure of the Rice Terraces. So it's a journey to fix my idea of what a fractured identity is through the eyes of the one and only Apuang Od in Kalinga, Philippines, who did this tattoo.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, cool. Kent, you know where to find us. So we better see those films coming in eventually. Yeah. Thanks. Derek.
You did a film without me? You jerk?
Yes.
Just waiting for you, Kurtz.
So I'm working on I got three quick things. I'm working on a web series called Boy 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 about three Gen Z Philam guys all named Boy that live together. It's a comedy surrealist drama examining Philam masculinity.
Nice.
And that's gonna hopefully be filming this fall. I'm working on a feature script called Dinner at Lola's, which is about a Philam college kid that is trying to keep his family from falling apart during his Lola's Thanksgiving dinner party. It's a rom-com family drama because all he wants to do is ask out his crush, but everything's falling apart at this party. There's karaoke, there's ping pong, there's lechon, there's everything. It's great. And then the last thing is hopefully by now it's out, I'm going to be doing a video podcast show with my producer, Justin, who's not here, examining the debut. We're going to be breaking it down every week, talking about all the elements of it because we found ourselves watching that film every week for the entirety of last year. So we thought we'd make a show about it. So that's what I'll be up to.
It was chaos. It was chaos. It's always.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Jewel, did you go already?
Not yet.
Yes.
Yeah, my turn.
Yes.
So I have two things going on. Technically three, not really. Well, the first one is I'm graduating in May, so I'm finishing up my bachelor's of art degree in animation here at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. I have two films. My first film that I had in production as of last semester is a short 10-minute animated short film called Hey. It's like 9 to 10 minutes. It is a story about a Filipino American character named Mariel who explores her worlds of anxiety. So she's tossed and turned in all these different environments as she tries to find comfort in anxiety. It is a film about demonstrating what anxiety can look like through visuals, but not a way to solve it. And it's a way of having an acceptance, an understanding of what anxiety feels like. It's a reflection of my own anxiety and how I learned to cope with it growing up. And my second film, which is the one I'm working on right now, because Hey is actually on pause. You actually can find that on social media for Hey, a short film on Instagram. And then my current film right now, which is my capstone thesis film, is called Quests Are for the Broke. It's on social media under QAFTB short. And it is a story exploring Filipino culture and Filipino food with Palabok being our main character. Palabok is a irritable young adventurer who has no money and wants to buy this new sauce cloak. So she takes on a quest to get money and buy the things she wants. It's all of my films are children's style films where it teaches children to work for the things they want, and life is not always easy, but we gotta get through it. Yay!
Cool. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you again for continuing to tell the good stories and representing all of us. And we wish you well. And thanks for being in our program. Hey, before we go, Nicole, did you want to, I think you should say hi to Uncle Punky.
Hi, Uncle Anselmo / Uncle Punky.
Yeah, he'll get a kick out of that.
I don't even know if he knows I'm pregnant yet.
Oh, okay. Well, then he just found out.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us.